You're listening to nothing important.
Even if you're not a Cubs fan, everybody wants to go to a Cubs game and experience the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
It's our
And I would
Roman
always
Coliseum. It's a rundown place that should probably be torn down by now, but tourists love it.
Right.
Please enjoy the show.
That's great. That works.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Nothing Important Podcast. Insert witty tagline here. My name is Bryan, and with me, as always, is my favorite carnival ride, Dave. Dave, how's it going this evening?
Does that make me the Tilt-A-Whirl, the hometown, the hail baler, the hay baler, or does that make me the octopus?
I like to think you're more like the bumper cars. Dave and I also host It's All Good Man, the Better Call Saul podcast. That's available on iTunes, or you can even look it up at itssaulgoodman.com. Dave, it's good to talk to you again. I haven't talked to you in, it feels forever.
It does feel like forever.
Yeah, it does feel like forever, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that our listeners are checking us out, and we've had a bunch of great guests lately. A little bit later, we're going to be calling Ben Tudor from the American Bocce Company. Great guy. He runs a couple indoor bocce leagues here in Chicago, and I just wanted to chat with him a bit just because he seems like a really solid dude, and he's got a really fun thing going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that you enjoy it. You've talked about it on the show. You've mentioned it. It's much more of a city thing for you guys. It's kind of your guys' night out away from the ladies, I assume. And
yeah.
I don't have that access down here in the sticks.
It's funny they say, speaking of things going on in the city, this weekend's kind of like a really busy weekend of the city. We have Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field.
Oh.
So I guess if anybody wants a free Pearl Jam concert, all you got to do is take a taxi, Uber, or train down to Wrigleyville, stand outside Wrigley Field. Because it'll be a party, too. I guarantee there will be as big as a party outside Wrigley Field as there is inside Wrigley Field.
The beauty of Wrigley Field, as I'm surprised that people don't know, it's in a neighborhood, so everything that happens in the stadium happens outside the stadium as well.
Exactly. I used to work in hotels. I don't now because I'm unemployed, but of my own volition, I quit. But when I worked at hotels and people would often ask about things to do in downtown Chicago, of course, everybody wants to go to a Cubs game. Even if you're not a Cubs fan, everybody wants to go to a Cubs game and experience the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
It's our Roman Coliseum. It's a rundown place that should probably be torn down by now, but tourists love it.
Right. And I would always explain to people, don't drive. Driving is an absolutely terrible idea.
Yeah.
Because you're going into a neighborhood. And my hotel was out in the suburbs, and folks would be like, "Oh, well, when I drive to the city, what exit do I take?" And I'm like, "Well, any exit to really get you into the city, but people don't understand it's literally in the middle of a neighborhood. It's not like in the middle of a neighborhood adjacent to an exit on the highway. It's literally in the middle of a neighborhood.
It's not U.S. Cellular Field. U.S. Cellular Field, you get off on 35th Street.
Right.
That's right off the highway. It's in a neighborhood, but right off the highway. There has its own parking lots. It's a much better fan experience to go to that stadium if you stay inside the stadium property. Mm-hmm. It's the inverse of Wrigley Field.
Right. I mean, even Soldier Field, Soldier Field is right downtown, which is where the Chicago Bears play. But even then, it's right off the highway with its own parking lot. And Wrigley Field has none of that.
No, they don't even have. They have free bike parking. So get close and bike in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Or you could just get caught up in the throngs of people that are always walking. It's like up in that neighborhood, everybody migrates towards Wrigley Field on games day.
Yeah.
Even if they're not going into the stadium just because of the atmosphere. I'm not a sports guy or a baseball guy, but I will say the atmosphere is pretty intense when you're down there. Everybody's all, you got the T-shirt vendors. You got the Taco Bell with the giant 35-foot tall Taco Bell sign with the Cubs hat hanging off of it.
You used to have McDonald's, but they tore down the McDonald's.
Yeah, to make room for another McDonald's. No, no, I think it's like a hotel or some shit now.
They're doing something.
Anyway, Chicago Air Show
Oh, really?
is this weekend. Yeah,
That means
Chicago
it's our
Air and
year
Water
anniversary from the podcast gangbang, because remember we got the flyover.
Yeah, yeah. And if anybody wants to hear that, we had a couple porn stars on. Jocelyn Stone and Rebecca Love joined us for a. It was kind of like a game show with the guys that wrote First Base and Beyond.
Yes. It was fun times. It was a great experience, and we are hilarious.
And just as we were getting started, the Chicago Air and Water Show had their opening ceremonies of sorts, and right as we got started, and we made a joke about there being some sort of opening ceremonies, the jets flew right over our house, and you can hear it very audibly on the podcast. So it was a perfect way to start that.
Fittingly appropriate for a chat about a baseball metaphor book. Like, it was all sports themed, It was so appropriate.
Yeah. Totally great. It was a great time though, and we're gonna have to touch base with those guys and see what they're up to. But most importantly, the really big news going on around here is the yearly carnival that's right outside my goddamn house is starting this weekend. I think I mentioned it before. Every year there's a carnival in my neighborhood. It's literally outside my house. Like if I were to walk out my back door right now, I run right into like a Ferris wheel. It's ridiculous.
That explains the opening introduction of me.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the inspiration. It's cool because my daughters totally think that we somehow got a carnival to come to their house. They think, especially my oldest daughter thinks it's all for her, but no, every year they do it, and there's absolutely no parking. We have 2 TV shows filming in the neighborhood, 3 houses that are under construction, and a carnival. So I have absolutely no parking. I'm walking like a mile and a half to park every day.
And there's no spots by your house. It's all just a free-for-all for parking.
Yeah, well, especially my street, because my street is one of the few without the permit parking.
Right.
So it's everybody who doesn't have a permit wants to park on our street.
Yeah.
Right. But my street is only about 3.5 blocks long without parking. So, and there's literally I think 100,000 people that live in this neighborhood alone. So it's 100,000 people.
35,000, Bryan. I looked it up.
Now we do try to cheat a little bit where we do have a garage space.
Right.
And I'll go park my car out on the street. Then when my wife gets home, we'll park her car in that spot and then park my car in the garage. But the way that this carnival is set up, I have to drive around carnival exhibits to get to my garage because not only is there alleys up here, but there's also access alleys that go from the main streets, and the carnival blocks all the inputs from the alleys. So they put up a sign that says the road is closed, but they can't technically block the access. So it's just kind of with a wink and a nod. If you live here, you can drive around the barricades, and then you kind of snake back and forth through the closed rides and then up the access alley and into my garage. But
Nice.
The problem is that'll only work when people aren't at the carnival. So I guess it only works from the hours of maybe 11 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning.
It's the beauty of living in the city. They have everything, but they have everything.
Mm-hmm, exactly. But right now, we're going to talk to Ben Tudor from the American Bocce Company about Bocce Ball, indoor Bocce Ball specifically, Dave. You haven't been up here when we played Bocce Ball, but it's really interesting. What intrigues me is it's indoor Bocce Ball, and it's played on that weird grassy AstroTurf, like what campers put underneath the awning on their trailers.
Right.
And they actually have a court that's devised of these inflatable tubes to keep the balls combined. And Ben and his company hold events all over Chicago. They run various leagues, and it's just a great time. And we're going to chat with Ben right now, and then we'll be back after our talk with Ben Tudor from the American Bocce Company. All right, Dave, on the Somewhat Important Hotline, we have Ben Tudor from the American Bocce Company. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, it's bocce, right? I always mispronounce it as bocce, but it's bocce, correct?
It is bocce. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not Italian. I'm just kind of a messenger and a carrier of the sport. But yes, that's the pronunciation I've always heard.
Well, Ben, I'm glad that you're on our podcast. I often talk about how fun it is that we get out because I'm not on an actual team. You run several leagues around the city, and I'm not on an actual team. I'm just kind of like the married friend that gets called by the single friends when their other single friends have something better to do than hang out with their other friends.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the beauty of it. And no, you're not there all the time, but when you are, your presence is certainly felt. But yeah, it is. There's a nice mix of, committed. It's teams of 4. So a lot of teams will have their core 4, and it's the same group of people showing up every week. Then we have teams of 5, 6, 8 people that'll show, alternate weeks or just alternate games, and everybody will show up. And so that's really what it's all about. It is the people are there for bocce, and you get your 2 games every night, but it is just as much a social experience as it is a competitive one. So some people come to play and get down and dirty and fight it out and find themselves chatting it up with the competition. And some people just come to hang out and meet a nice boy or a nice girl, and then they end up getting fiery as well. So it's 50-50 right down the line of the social aspect leaning on the competition, and the competition leaning on the social.
Now, Ben, you have leagues, a couple leagues all over the city, and they're usually played in a pretty fun locations. Like there's one at the Chop House that I usually hang out with. They have a big indoor room. And then there was a place downtown that we played on Wednesday nights where it was like in this little courtyard where you managed to fit 2 bocce ball courts in like a patio area. And even though everybody was hanging all over each other and stumbling all over each other, it was an absolute great time.
Yeah. So generally speaking, we have 4 leagues running around Chicago at any given time, and we do try to diversify our offerings, filtering that pretty much by neighborhood. So, yeah, we do have our core, our number 1, generally speaking, is the Monday nights at Chop Shop that you play in Wicker Park. And then downtown is, Clark Street Ale House. That is a tight squeeze, but people don't seem to mind. Everybody's a little bit on top of each other, but going back to the social aspect of it, it's all good. And then we have one in Logan Square at a Chicago Distilling Company, and we got a rooftop league and another one in Wicker at a place called Whiskey Business. So, obviously summertime, want to get people outside. The weather has been quite cooperative this year. We haven't had one rain out. So, but yeah, we try to move it around, make it accessible to people in different neighborhoods. But basically, with our technology, we have these inflatable bocce wall units. It's basically just kind of think like a fire hose, and we roll out some AstroTurf. So anywhere that can fit our 30 by 8 courts, we're happy to show up. So whether it's event spaces or patios or rooftops, or we've done it all. So getting around and being mobile is a big aspect of our business.
Dave, one of the biggest aspects of Bocce Ball, because you haven't been able to come up and play with us or hang out with us because of the distance between us, but
True.
should be no surprise to you that I absolutely suck. Like, once again, anything.
I don't know if I've ever seen you throw a ball. I always know you're around, and like I said, you're quite the personality, so I could pick you out from across the room, but I don't know if I've ever seen you toss, so that's news to me.
Well, You've definitely never seen me toss really good, but I know for a fact that I played a few games because every game I seem to earn myself a couple hot shots, and I think it'd be great if you explained to Dave and those out there listening exactly what a hot shot is. Yeah,
it would be my pleasure. A hot shot is just what it sounds like. It is anywhere from lukewarm to hot booze that is presented to a player after a subpar throw. So the origins are, our community started just by building a bocce park on an unused city lot, and that's really where it all started. But we just had a bottle of John Bar Scotch sitting on this wooden plank in between the two 2 courts, summer day, sitting in the sun. Quickly became undrinkable, so we thought. But after somebody talked to Bocce Ball, it ended up rolling down the alley, and we said, "Listen, man, you got no option. You got to take a hit of this." And he did. And next week, somebody brought another bottle of something. I think it was Bacardi 151 that time, and we set it out. And ever since then, it is a key point to our league. People love it. People hate it. But, that's kind of the idea. It really just kind of adds to the fun, the party atmosphere that we're going for. And yeah, I mean, we've had bottles in microwaves and a chop shop. It's generally sitting in a crock pot, so it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I remember.
Number one, the list. We have a blog on our AmericanBocceCompany.com website, and we did break down the worst hot shots of all time. And undisputed champion was this salmon vodka that was used for Bloody Marys at Parsons and Logan Square here in Chicago, and that was set out in the sun. So salmon infused vodka was number one. Be happy you went there that JB, but we have a good time with it.
That's awesome.
I think the first one that I earned is I missed every single ball on the court and hit the back wall, and therefore I had to earn.
That'll get you a hot shot every time.
I had to do a hot shot, and I believe it was warmed up apple pucker.
Ugh.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think you got off easy that night.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. But anyway, Ben, thank you so much for coming on Nothing Important Podcast. I suggest to anybody, especially in the Chicago area, please seek Ben and the American Bocce Company out. It's a ton of fun. It gets you out of the house, and it's Bocce Ball, man. It's a really great time. Ben, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, Twitter, website, all that good stuff.
Yep. Once again, thanks for having me, guys, and letting me talk about the company. It's American Bocce Co. on all forms of social media. AmericanBocceCompany.com is the website. Chicago is the heart and soul and the origins, but we are expanding nationally and setting up satellite leagues around the country using our website and the league management system through it. So we got leagues going in New York and Boston and Knoxville, with Milwaukee, New Orleans, and Oxford, Mississippi coming right behind it and continuing to expand. So yeah, AmericanBocceCompany.com for more information.
Awesome. All right. Ben Tudor, ladies and gentlemen, of the American Bocce Company. Ben, thank you so much for coming on Nothing Important.
Later on, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to Nothing Important.
Dave, that was Ben from the American Bocce Company, and I just hope anybody out there, if you have any interest in what Bocce Ball is at all, to definitely give them a look.
I think it's hilarious because I don't know why I didn't mention this, but Bocce Ball is a thing that my family used to do going years and years and years back. We got a little Bocce Ball set, and we would just throw the ball and chase it all around the yard and just play around in a circle till the team gets to 10 or whatever. Just making up our own version of it, but
Right.
it's fun, a little backyard
It's easily
game.
accessible.
Yeah.
Totally. Easily accessible. Please make sure that you check Ben and his company out. So, Dave, I have a Jeep Wrangler, and it's summertime, and so I always have the top off, right?
Fun. Or wait, I'm sorry. Yum, yum, yum.
yeah, exactly. It helps me creep on girls almost half my age. But another reason why I always have the top down is because my wife actually destroyed the top of my Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
She put it down without doing any of the zippers and forced it down, which broke all the zippers. And so the next time we tried to put it up, all the zippers were restuck, and then it just literally blew up. It was weird. She ripped out. Anyway, so I'm cruising around town, and we're just driving, and the girls want a water. Their big deal now is they want to get the little tiny cup of water from McDonald's, just so they could be like big girls, drink out of the cup and the straw. Why mommy and daddy drink a McDonald's tea, which is the best thing on McDonald's menu is their unsweet tea. I think you like sweet tea, but fuck that. The unsweet tea is awesome.
Fuck yourself. I like sweet tea.
So So it's rained up here a lot lately. In fact, we had a rainstorm today. I don't know if it's rained down near where you are, but it's rained up here.
Off and on, and there's one that kind of just rolled about 5 miles south of us.
Okay. And the city of Chicago's drainage system is absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But where it's fun is I'm still that guy that if there's a big puddle, I will hit it with my car.
Yes.
Right. And now I have the kids trained to where it's like a big thing. I'll be like, I'm going to hit that puddle. And they're like, no, Daddy, don't do it. And then you hit the puddle and everybody laughs, right?
Right.
So driving in the Jeep, driving to go get a water, giant puddle. Like, hey, I'm going to hit the puddle. No, Daddy, don't hit the puddle. And I hit the puddle super fast at like 40 miles per hour. I hit it dead on as opposed to the side. And all I see is this wave of muddy rock water come up over the front of the Jeep and over the windshield past my head. Hits my 2-year-old and my 5-year-old daughter right in the face.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
Oh, they were so pissed. And you know what's funny is in situations like that. So like at first I panic because like as I see like this giant wave of water coming over the windshield, I'm like, oh shit. But then as it like literally misses me, like I'm completely dry and I just hear the girl scream. I think, shit, that was street water. So that means there's probably rocks and glass and everything else.
Yeah, right.
So I immediately like pull over and hit the brakes, panic, probably caused an accident behind me. And all I'm doing is like looking at their like perfect little faces, making sure that they weren't pelted by rocks.
Right.
But they weren't. And that makes me an awesome dad because it was super cool afterwards.
That's like their own little carnival ride.
It was, exactly, which apparently is the theme of this show.
Speaking of carnival rides, I took one of your recommendations about a Suicide Squad based movie.
Yeah? What did you watch?
I watched
Assault on Arkham?
Yeah, I watched Batman Assault on Arkham. I watched the first half
What'd
of it.
you think?
I turned it off halfway through, and I haven't been back to finish it.
Why? What exactly was wrong with it?
I for some reason, I felt like nitpicking at this movie. So I can tell you,
Okay.
like the 3 things, maybe. I don't know, 2 big ones. You're gonna hate this.
Okay.
I didn't mind the fact that Harley Quinn bangs Deadshot right away.
Okay.
Okay, that was whatever. So the first thing was when they start their assault on Arkham, and they use the distraction of throwing the silverware in the microwave.
Yeah.
So he throws the silverware in the microwave, sets it for 20 seconds, and all of a sudden now it's a 20-second bomb. So think about it this way. This is how over analytical I get. So it exploded when the machine stopped throwing power at,
right.
It just sparks. It just throws out sparks, people. It doesn't fucking blow up when the timer goes off. Okay, so that
Okay.
I
That's
roll,
one.
right? Spoiler alert. So what really got me.
It's been out for 2 years. If you haven't seen it by now, go fuck yourself with the spoiler.
Right, exactly. And I was gonna say this also. Anytime Dave or Brian talks about a movie, fuck spoiler alerts. We've seen it. Fast forward. If you don't want to hear it, we talk spoilers. Right. So clever. The Joker mask was fucking clever. I thought that was a nice little nod. You know what I'm talking about?
The Joker mask?
When Harley Quinn's pulling the Joker's personal effects out of the box, and she pulls out the Joker mask from the Dark Knight.
Oh, no, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, she's going through the Joker shit, and apparently he had the mask from the Dark Knight in his box at the asylum. So
awesome.
It was the way the Joker escaped just fucking pissed me off, dude. Okay. So, for those of you that are curious, Harley Quinn is going to be an inmate to infiltrate things from the inside. As she's being led in, she comes across the Joker, whose cell has a glass pane, a bulletproof glass with holes in it. Harley Quinn grabs the security guard's gun and starts firing at the Joker. Then she sticks her gun through one of the holes and fires a bullet inside the cell that ricochets around for a while. Okay, fast forward. When the Joker decides to escape, he peels back the bullet hole of apparently sheet metal lined cell wall that's riveted together.
Yeah.
Pulls it back, grabs 2 random fucking wires that are broken, touches them together, and the cell door opens.
And you know what? You're probably you're absolutely you're correct. That is one thing I noticed as well. Like I was because there's little things that make me wince at movies, and that was definitely one of them. When I was watching, I was like, come on, like like that was the best.
Yeah.
You're making a cartoon where there's literally infinite possibilities available to. There is like no technological like
there's no limitations
as to what you can do. Yeah,
no limitations of what you can do.
Best you could come up with.
and I this is when I also realized how much I love the Joker, because my thought process was you're animating the greatest criminal mastermind of these elaborate fucking schemes. His brain is just ridiculous, and he gets out by tying two random fucking wires together. That's when I was just kind of like, you know what? Lazy. Done.
And that was it?
That was pretty much it. I kind of faded out after that, and then it got late, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just rather go to bed. I'll finish it later, and I never did. I didn't like really the voices either, honestly. I thought Harley Quinn was okay.
Those were all the voices from the original animated series.
I was wondering.
It's funny that you have complaints and you shut it off because from everything from your opinions of the Assault on Arkham Suicide animated movie, it still sounds about 100 times more positive than any review I've read for the Suicide Squad movie that just came out last week.
It was, honestly, I was really looking forward to Suicide Squad. It was my disappointment in B versus S, D of J. Or as Honest Movie Trailers called it, like the greatest trailer ever. Batman versus Superman versus fans versus critics versus Zack Snyder versus the studio. And, yeah, like I was so looking forward to Suicide Squad, and I started reading some reviews, and I'm generally not that guy that listens to critics. But when my friends with similar tastes start texting me like, dude, wait till you can watch it at home, then I start listening to the critics, and then, yeah, it's very disappointing. I've really cooled off on it. So I went to the animated movie, which only pissed me off and makes me want to watch the real live action one now.
Well, Dave, at least there's always Wonder Woman.
And now, the fake outrage of the week.
So, Brian, you just told me you didn't know. Ellen DeGeneres sent out a tweet after the men's, I think it was after the men's 100 dash or whatever. Usain Bolt. She's writing, she superimposed herself on the back of Usain Bolt. And the caption said, "This is how I'm running all of my errands from now on." And people started calling her a racist.
Hold on. Oh, I knew that was gonna be it. I like at first my reaction was, "So what? He's quick. Like, what's the joke?"
Yeah.
And then my like third thought was, "Oh, it's a black guy and she's white."
Yes.
So yeah, fuck them, man.
Yeah.
That shit is getting so out of hand.
Just and it's to the like the people were tweeting like, "Damn you, Ellen DeGeneres, for calling Usain Bolt the fastest man in the world." You know, like people were, at least realizing how stupid that is.
Here's a pop quiz. You ready?
Yes.
People who are actually offended by Ellen DeGeneres' Usain Bolt tweet. A, no one. B, all of the above.
Exactly. It's so ridiculous, man. I mean, you can't even like make jokes like that. Everybody knows Jamaica wins every sprint.
Right. At least for the past 16 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's Usain freaking Bolt. Oh, it's so stupid, and just I don't know. I that's the only thing that offends me is when people get offended about stuff they shouldn't be offended about, I guess. And then I got to hear about it. And I got to waste my time reading some stupid article. But my comment was I was only surprised by the tweet because Ellen DeGeneres actually did something funny.
Be sure to follow Nothing Important online at nothingimportantpodcast.com. Find us on iTunes, on Twitter at NotImportantPC, and you can also find us on Facebook. Nothing Important is recorded with help from Third City Sound in Joliet, Illinois. Thanks for being awesome.